Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Court of Swords, episode 140. Right, Adam? Maybe?
That's right.
That sounds
episode
good to me.
140.
140. We're going to start today's episode off with Dan's movie minute because he saw the Sonic movie. Dan.
Yeah, Dan. How was the Sonic movie?
How's the Sonic movie? What's your review? You have a minute.
Everyone thought it would be like a utter train wreck when it came out after the whole Sonic look debacle, like last year.
Mhm.
I did.
The movie itself was actually pretty good. Like, I enjoyed it. It's definitely a kids movie, so keep that in mind when you're watching it.
Okay.
But it was fun because what really made it was Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik was real good. Like, he owned that role. He was very almost
Jim
like
Carrey.
his Ace Ventura like era of movies level of like comedic comedy going on with it. He brought that role to life, and the rest of the movie was really good too. The story was good. It like incorporated like game stuff with the storyline, and I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. It was pretty fun.
How was Ben Schwartz as the titular hero of the movie, Sonic, also known as Santa?
That's such a good way of describing it too. The titular character. We're going to take Sonic and we're going to elevate him to Shakespeare. The eponymous hedgehog.
Yeah.
He was fine. He was like you could have put any guy in that role and it would have been the same.
Leonardo
He was
DiCaprio. Let's see.
yeah.
I want to see his Sonic. They should
Leonardo,
just get a new. They should get a new movie star every Sonic movie they do, to see how it goes.
Could have put Nicolas Cage there and it still would have been like
that.
the same
Oh
role.
my
Like,
god,
yeah.
that would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Max,
Oh,
I want to hear Morgan Freeman as Sonic.
let's do it. Morgan Freeman is Sonic.
Yeah.
You got to say something about being fast and chili.
This
dogs.
might be the first time we've ever asked Max to do Morgan Freeman. Zeke's waited 140 episodes because he didn't want to embarrass Max and put him on the spot. But here we are. This is Morgan Freeman, as done by one GassyMexican, and then that upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie.
You are too slow. You are going down, Dr. Robotnik. Those coins or circles I go after are mine.
There you go.
Was that good? Was that good for you?
Yeah,
Perfect.
I'm gonna read the copy again.
yeah, that's good. That's good. Look for it.
Going fast. Like
Look for it summer 2021. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be huge.
God as Sonic.
I saw there was some funny articles about Sonic. One of them I really had an issue with, and it was this idea that Twitter and social media saved Sonic because they made them change the way Sonic looked, and I could not be more upset that Twitter or social media did anything positive ever. It's bad.
My fear.
It's a
So
bad,
when they
slippery
announced
slope.
the news, they announced the news that an AI was going to be picking scripts, and I was like,
I was
"Ooh,
excited
that
about
is some
that.
dystopian shit." Yeah, it'll
be
be
great.
interesting, but it's pretty dystopian. So I was a little nervous, and then when I was like, "Oh, Reddit thinks that they can just change any movie they disagree with." Oh dear, this is going to be boy.
It just adds fuel
So
to that
this is the beginning of a thing.
terrible fire.
Yeah. Every streamer / person on social media is just like freaking the fuck out. Everyone's like, "No, this is great. This is the world I want to live in. I want some sort of control over this shit." It's a bad idea.
Very bad idea. Yeah.
But I still want to see the Sonic movie. We might take the kid to go see it. So
I
Yeah,
wanna
it's
see
a
that
good
too.
kids movie.
Yeah.
Sure.
now when the lights came up after the movie, what was the furry quota, would you say, in the theater? Where are we talking? Were there fur suits being worn?
We went to a 9 p.m. showing on a Monday, so it was just me and one other group couple that was there. It's me and Kevin and one other couple that were in the theater, and that was it.
Okay.
So
Were the other couple
they
furries?
seemed normal. They were
Okay. The
wearing
furries don't
outfits.
come out on
Yeah.
Monday. Everyone knows that. You got to go back to work on Mondays. But
The girl was a laugher though. Like she would like laugh hardcore at every joke.
maybe she's a hyena.
possibly.
Could have been. That's our persona.
I mean, they're nocturnal, so a 9 p.m. show would make sense.
It's true. And they laugh. Everyone knows that. We've all seen Lion King.
I forgot, like, Dan
Was
had
kind of
someone to go to
devouring her
movies with.
popcorn
Mm.
ravenously as well. Yeah.
Mm. What were you
I
saying,
forgot
Zeke?
Dan had someone to go to movies with, so I just pictured him walking in alone, I would, I'm gonna watch this Sonic movie by myself.
Yep. No judgment.
Yeah.
Look at me, go ahead, I dare you.
Well, we know we've learned two things. One, the Sonic movie was good. And two, furries don't come out on Monday. You got to wait till the weekend for that.
If they were gonna come out, they would have come out during Cats, man. I didn't see one of them.
Yeah, but you waited to go see Cats. All the furries were already done with Cats. They had moved on. They'd moved on to the next furry movie.
But do you think furries are on the ball with that shit? You don't
I
think
don't
there's
know.
some
I
lazy ass
think-
furries out there?
I mean, no, look, because it takes work to be a furry. You have to make a fucking fursuit. That's a lot of
You
work.
make it every day.
Yeah.
There has to be a
You gotta-
sloth furry out there that's slow, you know.
Oh, I didn't think about a sloth furry. Shit.
It's not just a suit, JP. It's a whole persona.
It is a
Everybody knows
persona.
that.
You know, I apologize to the furries out there. It's true.
It's not just putting on a suit.
I didn't even consider you could be a sloth furry, though. That's interesting.
That sounds like a furry.
You can.
That sounds like a persona I would be about.
Yeah, just become a sloth. That'd be
You
great.
know how close we are to having a conversation about what your persona is. We're this close.
Oh, no.
So we either got to do it
me and
or we
Max
got to
already
back
had
away
it.
from
me
that
and Max
shit.
already had it. I think sloth. We're in. We're in on Team Sloth over
Sloth.
here.
Yeah.
You can't just take
That sounds
Max's
great.
answer.
What? No, I
Yeah.
was the one that said that. He took my answer. Max, give me the
No.
sloth animal back. It's my
It's the year of
persona.
Max is right. I don't know what
Yeah.
you're talking about, JP.
No, it's the year of the rat.
That's right, 2020.
It's not the year-
Max
oh,
is
wait.
allowed.
It might be the year is Max. Right, maybe so.
I'll tell you, the costume I felt most at home with was a big, giant, fat pink bear.
Mm.
I was just thinking about
Like
that
Baloo?
and you the other day because I was thinking about Burning Man.
Yeah. Come to Burning Man. There's, if you're a furry, tons of camps.
Someone in chat says I'm a capybara. I don't know if that's real.
The largest rodent.
Yeah,
You're a huge rat.
that might be real.
I can see
don't know.
that.
Capybaras are pretty cool. They're not bad.
Mm.
They're not bad. There's
And I
a
feel
lot
like
of animals,
the expressions I see on a lot of capybara, because they're not small, they're big, but they're just
though.
like,
They're fucking big.
they
Yeah,
kind of look like this a lot.
yeah they
And you
don't
do
really-
that a lot.
There are some really good pictures of capybara like in hot springs or in like big wooden baths and stuff, and they look like they're just having a fucking killer time. They're just like,
I've seen that.
Yep.
I've seen that. Yeah.
a human made this. Yeah, they're giant hamsters. Yeah.
Capybaras at the zoo look like they're just straight chilling always. I've never seen one like crazy. They've just all the ones I've seen, they just look like they're having a great time. Yep, you looking at us? Okay, cool.
I need to go to the zoo more often. I need to be able to call upon more animals. I can only name the big animals, the well-known animals. You know what I'm saying? I need some
Mhm.
lesser-known animals in my life. I gotta go to the zoo. Max,
I
when was the last
saw-
time you were at the zoo?
Not that long ago, actually. It was TwitchCon. I went to the San Diego Zoo.
Oh, they're supposed to have a good one.
Love that zoo. Is really cool.
Is that the one is that free? Maybe the St. Louis Zoo is free.
Next time I go too, because they have like, I've never done this, and I only realized like, oh yeah, of course. Why wouldn't they have this at like a really nice zoo? You can pay like, you know, a lot of money or whatever to like really get the behind the scenes and like see cool, you know,
Like
like
a VIP
feed certain
tour?
different animals and get like that. But that seems like it'd be worth it to me. Somebody who appreciates like the finer things of animals, and then of course there's a whole fursona furry part of it.
I don't think furries go to the zoo.
Involved.
I don't think that's a furry thing. I think they
Furries go to
You
the
don't
zoo
think
is like
a furry has
person going
ever
to a
gone to the
prison.
zoo? Are you
No,
fucking
I'm
kidding
sure
me?
a furry has been to the zoo before. I'm
Adam
just
said
saying they
first
don't
before I
hang
could.
out at the zoo. That's not
Like,
like
You know
a
what? They might not
local
let them in
hangout.
actually in the suit. Now they think about it, because maybe they'd be mistaken for a costume character, kind of like how theme parks don't allow people to dress up in costume or whatever.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Imagine
So it's-
walking into Build-A-Bear and going, "Oh God, what's going on here?"
It's like going into a Best Buy wearing a blue or a blue
Yeah.
polo, right? It's like
Oh,
you can do it. It's
exactly.
probably not a good idea, but you
That's-
could if you wanted to.
It's a bad idea.
I don't know
They
what it
did that,
is
like
too, but
improv everywhere. No, what's that?
I don't know.
The
Impractical
flash mob
Jokers or some
improv
shit?
group or whatever.
oh, I don't know.
I've never heard
It's
of
not
it.
you're not thinking of improv everywhere because that's what I would have thought too.
Maybe
yeah.
that's what it is. But they They did that exact
Yeah.
thing. They got like 50 people in like khakis and a blue shirt.
Yeah, I
and
remember
went into
hearing
Best
about that.
Buy.
And they tried to have the police like press charges. They're like, listen, we can't do anything. You can tell them to leave, but
Yeah,
like,
they're
we
just
can make them leave, but
they're just
you can't
hanging
press
out.
charges. They're just
Yeah.
wearing shirts and
Yeah.
and pants.
Yeah.
You should. I mean, take a lesson from Hot Dog on a Stick and give yourself a fucking goofy outfit so that can't happen.
It's true.
Okay, here's a question. Do I look like somebody who just works at a store? And that sounds stupid, I guess. But I'm asking this with purpose. 'cause
Like
we're
right-
talking about,
yes.
people
Right now
mistaking.
or ever?
I don't know. People always
you look
ask
like you
me.
know how to make a heart in a latte.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
It happens all the fucking time. More than I would think it happens to most people. But people just come up to me and they're like, "Sorry, do you work here?" And they just ask me like a question as if I work there. And I'm wearing like this. It's not like I'm like wearing fucking
The only
polos or
acceptable
some
answer
shit.
to that, yeah. If somebody asks you that in a store, right? If you're in a store and somebody comes up to me and they say, "Do you work here?" The only answer is yes. Like absolutely. What do you need? How can I help you? And then you just take them on a magical journey of
I think
confusion
Max,
and misery.
because here's my rebuttal to that is I've never been asked that, but that's because I'm apparently intimidating. I don't think you're intimidating. You're more approachable. So everyone just comes up to you, and even if you say no, they're gonna be like, I mean, what's the worst? He's gonna smile at me. That's probably the worst it's gonna be. So I'm gonna.
I usually help them. I'm like, I don't, but yeah,
there you
it's
go.
on aisle
That's
3 over there.
perfect You got a great Yelp score apparently.
You look put together always. Like I don't think I've ever seen you disheveled. You look like you work at whatever
It
place
happens
you're
sometimes.
in because your hair is always nice. Your beard is perfectly
It's not always
trimmed.
nice.
That's true.
It's not always nice.
I've
shown up on this show looking like a piece of shit.
This show.
I'm saying in my experience of being around you,
I
have
appreciate
never
it.
looked disheveled ever.
Oh, okay. In person, I see.
In
Okay,
person.
because I was gonna say, there's definitely been episodes where the first thing out of Max's mouth is, "I'm sorry, I look like shit right now."
Yeah.
I distinctly
But,
remember
however,
having that
If
conversation.
he
Usually because I
says
haven't
that-
showered or
Every time he says that, you look at Max and you're like, I mean, look, that it's not that you look fine. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, nobody would notice.
Yeah. So then that's why.
well,
you're,
I'm,
Yeah.
whatever. I guess that adds even more credence to it. Maybe I have a high standard of trying to be at least
Here's the thing.
presentable. I don't fucking
you
know.
need to work on your I don't give a fuck about anything look, and then once you get that pat down, then no one will ever approach you again. That's
It happens, but it's very rare. I have to be like in a rare place of like, I haven't slept. Everything's annoying me. I didn't do my hair, which makes me feel weird and just uncomfortable.
Mhm.
You can ask Amanda. Like if I haven't showered, eaten, or like done my hair or whatever, you do not want to be around me. I'm a fucking asshole to everyone because I just feel terrible.
I think you might have a future gig, or you could probably do it now, where like an employee of a place would hire you, but just personally hire you to be the manager of the place. So when people ask, "Can I see the manager?" they just point to you.
Yeah.
You're not really the manager, but they hire you to be one.
A stand-in manager.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
'Cause they'll buy it every time. All you need is a button down and a tie.
Yeah.
Can I speak to your
Anyways,
manager?
people mistake
Hi,
me for
what can I
working
do
at
for you?
stores. It was just on the topic of that whole, Best Buy.
Have you ever gotten,
mistaking or pretending?
Mistakenly asked if you worked at the zoo before. To bring it
No.
full circle. Okay.
I aspire to that.
That's what you want. You just hang
That's
out
the one.
hang
That's
out
one
at
that would be
zoos.
funny to pretend.
Sir, are you bringing the giraffes around later today? And then you're just like, well, yes, I am. And you just walk off into the.
I do indeed work at this zoo. And if you and your 7 children would like to come with me, I can give you a private tour of the tiger cage.
There
It's
you
very
go.
special. Come on. Come
Ooh.
I
this
was
way.
just
Come on.
thinking,
That's why no one
I have
asked
the-
Adam if he works at the zoo. Right there. Is that?
I have the opposite effect of Max. Like people come up to me, "Excuse me, sir." "Oh, I'm sorry. You obviously don't work here."
Zeke,
Still approachable.
you ever had that
though.
thing?
See,
Zeke, you ever had that thing happen where you're like your legs are tired and so you sit down next to like the front of a building or something and somebody walks by and throws some quarters at you? Ever had that happen?
Yes.
Because I feel like that's the opposite of being asked if you work there.
Ouch.
It's I assume you work nowhere.
No. This has
Ouch.
actually happened to me before. I'll walk out of a bar because they outlawed smoking in the bar. So I go out, have a cigarette, and I'm standing outside the bar, like right at the front entrance, and people come up and like give me their IDs.
Oh,
You're just taking cover charge from random people. Fuck yeah,
I'm
that's
not
a great
kidding. I'm
racket.
just standing outside there smoking a cigarette, and they come up, they're like, "Here you go," and I'm like, Looks good, bud. Go on in.
I could see that.
Good.
Yeah.
I could
Well,
see that.
especially too if you're like outside, having a cigarette and whatever. That fits in perfectly for somebody who's checking IDs.
Yeah. Well, and I also like dress all in black like bouncers do.
Now,
So,
have you ever had the follow-up where you're inside at the bar, like, I don't know, doing whatever you do inside of a bar? I've never been to one before, apparently. And people come up to you and say,
Drink
like,
is
hey,
the
aren't
traditional,
you the bouncer? Has that ever happened where you have the follow-up inside on if you're a bouncer? Or do people just leave you
no,
alone?
no.
Oh.
Because a bouncer usually wouldn't have his shirt off by then, raving drunk.
Right. No, that's what I'm asking. That's why I'm
Because
wondering.
if you see me inside the bar, that's what's happening with me.
That makes sense. Well, anyways, that's what we think about the new Sonic movie.
Yeah, in a very roundabout way, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Always got to bring it back. Max, I want to talk to you about Shaka Khan's performance of the national anthem because you were there in person over the weekend at the NBA All-Star Game. How bad was it? The Shaka Khan
so in
performance,
person,
not the All-Star Game.
Yeah. So in person, I mean, I could tell she was not hitting quite some of the notes as well as she maybe could have in her youth or whatever.
Sure.
But I think people on, it's a symptom of being there in person with like the acoustics and things like echoing around. It was less noticeable and sounded probably better in person than it would if you were just getting the direct, digital feed through watching online or at home or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
That makes sense to me because it's the same thing with anything. Like anything's like echoey. You're in a karaoke place and you hear the reverb like echoing throughout the room. It's going to sound way better than. Did you sneeze or laugh? Zeke, what happened?
Yeah,
I
we did both,
laughed.
and it was.
You'll see.
Oh.
You'll see what I was laughing at.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, I think it was a symptom of that. I could definitely tell she wasn't quite hitting the notes properly or whatever. But whatever. It's fine. It's Shaka Khan.
The inverse. How was Jennifer Hudson during the?
She
Kobe?
fucking killed it.
Yeah,
That shit
I heard
was
that
crazy.
was pretty good.
Yeah, no, that was really cool. It was emotional too because it was like a tribute,
I bet,
to
yeah.
like Kobe Bryant, and everybody's just dead. There was 8 seconds of dead silence with over 23,000 people in the United Center. That's weird too. When nobody's an asshole. Not one person went, "Woo, Kobe!"
Yeah,
like during
so
the 8 seconds.
That exact thing. I watched the Jennifer.
Listen,
Hudson
everybody
performance.
mourns in their own way, okay?
Dude, I watched
Some of
that
us need a
Jennifer
moment
Hudson
of silence.
performance.
Others need to scream Kobe at the top of our lungs.
She's like, I don't know, in the middle of like a high note, and people are just like, Kobe! Like, come on, man. She's singing this like emotional performance. People were like, 24! Come on, man. Fucking let her sing.
Yeah.
So Zeke, you know why I pronounced it like that? Is because Japanese has ruined my brain. And that's the name of a city in Japan.
That's
I
exactly
can't say
the-
Kobe because
that's
it's me mispronouncing the city. Just like I can't
That's the
say
connection
Yakuza. And how
that
I have
I
to
know.
struggle. I have to struggle not to be like, it's karaoke. I have to try so hard not to.
Karate.
Man,
Yeah, it's karate. All right.
that's rough. That's rough. Speaking of it, this is my Japanese knowledge for the day. I watched the Witcher 3 documentary yesterday. Apparently, in the Witcher 3 version the Japanese version of the Witcher 3, they had to remove all shots of people being disemboweled or intestines showing from a monster because it's seen as dishonorable. So they removed all of that from the Witcher 3 in the
That
Japanese
sounds
version.
like a lot of work.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like that kind of cultural edit is pretty prevalent in both directions, right? Like how in China you have to cut all the skeletons. There's no skeletons
Wait, really?
allowed in China. Yeah. All
They
of
didn't do that.
I only found this out.
Huh.
I only found this out because of Magic the Gathering. There are a ton of alternate card art done for the Chinese audience because they're like, I don't know, it's a skeleton. They're like, no, make that a different thing. I'm like,
Weird.
okay, well, the card's still called
Why don't they
Skeleton
like
Lord, but
skeletons?
it's not.
Wait,
Yeah.
hold on. What does the undead race look like in World of Warcraft then, in the Chinese version?
I think they're not skeletal enough, but all of the animated skeletons, they were changed out for something else.
Weird.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh my God, your religion makes you wear funny hats. I'm eating flesh and blood though.
But
You know,
sure,
it's like,
yeah. I mean, it's only
my
weird because
shit
it's
is
just,
weird to you, I'm sure.
yeah, it's weird because it's the unknown, right? It just seems completely bonkers because it's not everyday society for me. The other one that was interesting was in the Arabic translation, they couldn't mention the plural gods. It was always just God in The Witcher.
Sure.
And so they like redid the entire game, and like any sense of deity or any like higher power being, it was always in reference to God, the singular version of it.
So yeah, it's so weird.
It was really crazy.
That
to see
idea that
stuff.
your own like personal ideas about reality are so aggressive that you can't, like, the media can't even imagine there's like a fake bunch of gods.
That
It's
was
like,
the other thing that was interesting. They sent in the opening of Witcher 3, it opens up with kind of the pseudo sex scene between Yennefer and Geralt, like the bath scene. But because the first scene is Yennefer's ass, they had to remove that scene from that version of the game because you can't show a bare naked ass in those regions of the world. But in Japan, they welcome the ass. They're like, give us
the
more
inverse.
ass.
The inverse is true. The inverse is true too. Like with Final Fantasy VI,
They added panties on the ass.
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
They
the
did
Super
pants,
Nintendo.
yeah.
The Super Nintendo version. All the sprites have like
No, in Japan.
hot pants, and you're like, she's clearly naked. And they're like, we put some hot pants on her. It's fine, America. Like you're okay.
I thought
Yep.
that shit was
No
super
boobs in America.
interesting. That was a really good. That was a no clip documentary. If anyone's watching, is interested. But,
When you said no boobs in America, I just imagined Fievel and his family singing that. There are no boobs in America.
Bible goes west.
What a shame.
I think that might be my
What a
favorite.
shame.
My head is weird.
Yeah.
There's a really good folding ideas video, I think, about the Fievel Goes West video game. It's pretty magnificent.
I feel like
was
I've
pretty into
seen
that,
or
but-
heard about that, but I haven't.
Yeah,
Can't recall.
yeah. I think it's a PS1 game, and it's just a total nightmare, which you'd expect.
Yeah. Anyways, that was a random tangent. Max, how was the All-Star game? Did you go to like the dunk contest or anything, or did you just go to the All-Star game?
No, I just went to the actual game
Okay.
itself on Sunday. It was cool. It was really,
Were your
it was a
seats
really
better
good
than you
All-Star
thought?
game. They were about what I expected. We were pretty way up there, but I mean,
Okay.
it's the All-Star game, and I purchased tickets like off StubHub, like last minute kind of deal, like a week out or something. So they were,
Yeah.
like I said before, I don't know if I discussed it here or was it something else. I
You
don't
might
remember.
have.
But like down below, like let's say courtside, that's like easily 20,000.
Oh yeah.
Or
Yeah.
if you want to have like decent-ish, like middle-ish kind of, in both height and where you're at is in relation to the court, that's probably about 13,000. Even like a higher up upper side part, that's your upper level, but your middle.
Yeah.
It's about $2,500, like
Per seat?
$2,500.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So mine was like
Expensive.
not that. But it was cool though. It's one of those things where even being that high up, like I had a pretty good, I wasn't like directly behind the backboard. Like I had a little bit of an angle to it so I could still see, a little bit more of the court and see it like
Were you on
a little more depth.
LeBron's side or Giannis's side?
Giannis.
Which-
Are you
which-
asking what I was on?
Yeah. No. Like, where were you sitting? Which side of the stadium?
Oh,
And I guess maybe
Did
I'm
they even
pertaining to the
switch?
fourth because they probably switch. Yeah, I'm not sure if they
they
swap.
switch. I was going to say they switched. I'm like, do they do
I'm thinking
my
'cause I
thought
only
process
saw
literally
the
went, do
fourth.
they do it differently in the All-Star game? I don't think they do.
I saw it in the final.
But speaking of
is
doing
pretty
it
cool.
differently at the All-Star game, they switched the format, which was
Yeah.
really cool. They had them playing per quarter. Did you watch it at all? Or
I watched the very end. That's why I was asking if you were sitting Giannis.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah, they played
it
per
was right
quarter.
side, but it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
They kept score the entire time for each team's total, but they also had a neat idea where they play the scorer that they're showing actively is the one for that quarter, and then whoever team wins that quarter wins $100,000 for their charity,
Right.
which is pretty cool. But it also made it cool because at the very end, I think they tied for one of the quarters, which meant the fourth quarter was more substantial because they weren't just playing for 100,000; they were playing for 200,000. Because it basically went like LeBron and then Giannis came back, and then the third quarter they tied because competition was kind of ramping up, and then the fourth quarter they were playing like fucking all out. Like,
Yeah. It was
yes,
fun to watch.
the first three quarters they were still playing, effort basketball, but it felt like they were playing like some finals stuff. They really, really wanted to win, and it came down. There was no what's it
Shootout.
called timer at all.
Oh yeah,
They-
it was weird. It's like you had to get to a certain point or a certain score.
Certain point. There was a win there was a win condition as far as
yeah.
the score. And I think it was like 157. So that made it even more intense on the fourth quarter, you know.
Yep.
But that was cool. And even like, you know, people in the basketball world, ESPN analysts and stuff like that are like, yeah, this is like one of the best all-stars we've seen in like 25 years. So I hope they stick with it. But it was a good one. So I didn't even know they were doing that format change when I went. I just really wanted to go because it was in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I could visit my family too. But yeah, it was really, really cool being there. Super cool.
Cool. Did you do anything
And
else?
emotional.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, without a doubt.
Tributes to Kobe and all that. It was, got misty-eyed.
Kobe
It
and
was
David Stern. Was that the former commissioner
Yes,
that passed
David
away?
Stern,
Yeah.
the commissioner.
Yeah.
Mhm. The one that probably a lot of people are familiar with is like being kind of the face of the NBA.
Right. Did you do anything else in I don't want to say Chi-Town because I just hate fucking saying Chi-Town, but I'm gonna say, did you do anything else? in
Chi-Town?
Yeah.
She-Town? I went to our favorite restaurant there, which was really good. And then did something else.
Did you go to the biggest Starbucks in the world? Because I did.
No, I didn't. I didn't
Okay.
even know that was there until you mentioned it before at some point.
No one does. No one knows it's there until they're inside of it. Oh, okay, it's the biggest Starbucks in the world. That's cool. That's how it
Yeah,
goes.
we visited the
No
old
one
sushi
knows
place that we
it's
went
there
to.
until they're inside of it.
Yeah.
Oof.
You did
Yeah.
what? Max?
Visited the family and then went to like our favorite sushi place that we went to all the time where they like know us and make really good sushi. It's not like a super fancy place, but it's where we used to live.
That's
So it
awesome.
was kind of cool surprising them. We walked in, they were like, "Oh, it's you guys." And it's always a good feeling.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
always fun. Cheers. You know.
But other than that, no, it was a solid time in Chicago. It was good. Shorter trip, but good.
Cool stuff, Zeke. What's been going on with you? You're doing a bunch of indie stuff.
Yeah, I did a whole week of indie games. Sure, we'll talk about a lot at length tomorrow, but man, that's exhausting.
I bet swapping that many games around that much, it's got to be a lot.
Yeah, I played 25 games last week.
It's too many games. It's too much.
It is a lot of times, but there was some like real stinkers that ended up being so much fun to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like college level. Like this is the first game I've ever made, and I'm not really sure how to do collision or like make them jump and look like they're jumping, kind of a thing. But it was a ton of fun. I'm glad I did it. I skipped out on indie days for CD-ROMathon, so it was nice to get back. But now I'm gearing up, man. That's kind of what I've been doing during the like before we actually started, and what I was getting up doing just now was trying to get my HDMI splitter reworking again because something happened and fucking broke or whatever. But
Yeah.
trying to get this PlayStation TV, the PS TV working, so I can get some Persona going on Thursday.
Yeah, I've never used it before.
Dude,
so I'm
I saw
curious.
you post that tweet and I literally I can't remember the next hour. I just blacked out with joy. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It's such a
I
good
am too.
game.
Yeah.
And people are
Man.
people, like many people said it's like
I-
it's better than Persona 5. And I'm like, really? Because Persona 5 was
We had a
fucking
pretty
tit.
long discussion
You will-
about it in my
you'll-
chat. Like, I don't know if you're going to think it's better. Adam, go ahead, because I'm curious on your thoughts on it as well.
Yeah, so you're gonna find some of it annoying because the problems that it has gameplay wise, they fixed in 5. You're going through the order backwards, right? But I mean, you played old games,
Right.
you know how that goes. There's gonna be stuff where you're like, oh, I see why they fixed this.
Yeah.
So there's parts that you're not gonna like. I'm torn. Some of the characters from 4 I like better than the characters in 5. I think overall all the characters have more personality than they did in 5. Everybody's a little bit more muted in 5. But I think overall it's a more polished narrative than 5 had. I
As
think
long
you're
as there's
really
not a
right,
cat
though.
telling you telling you to go to bed every time.
Ah,
Like,
so this will be the question. Yeah.
Hmm.
So Persona fans, you can divide them into two camps: people who hate Morgana more than Teddy, and people who hate
Yeah.
Teddy more than Morgana. So
I've
we'll
heard
see.
these
We'll see where
things.
you land.
Yeah.
That's why I brought it up, because I know about the bear. Like
Yeah.
I think
I know of the bear. I have no idea what the story is about or what it entails or anything like that. But I know like some of the things here and there that people is like the meme things that people know.
Yeah.
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 You played Persona 5. You played Persona 5 before we went to Japan, right? And then we went.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's cool because I think playing 4, there'll be some stuff you'll be like, hey, wait a second, that looks familiar. It's not as like because it's small town instead of like big city, but there's definitely some bits and pieces that I think will resonate for you more after having been there.
Oh, totally. No, after going,
I'm really excited
after
to watch.
playing the Yakuza games and playing Persona 5, going to Japan and being like, holy shit, they really, really are like this. Like these places are like this, and they do a really accurate representation. So I'm excited to check it out.
Super
for sure.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I think you might knock Persona 4 about, Zeke, would be the music. 'Cause like it's tough in terms, and it's close in terms of who has better music, but I think 5 might edge out just to be a tiny bit better.
Dude, 5 is
think
so
you're right.
good.
I just know the like
I think you're right. I think
jazz that
overall,
I've
like
heard
if
in
you
the
look at the
background.
whole OST,
Yeah. 4's OST is like pretty good. It's close. I don't know. It's been a while since
it's
I've played
very
4, and I
good.
never played Golden, so I don't know what they've changed music wise.
Oh, so you had the other Chie voice actor, which I heard was better. Apparently.
Oh, really? I didn't
'Cause
know
I
there
played
was two.
I played Golden. I played Golden, and most of the time, people would come in who played the original were like, "Oh, they changed Chie's voice actress. The original Chie is way better," which I've never heard. But
I've never heard.
I love Chie. I thought she was awesome. So
Chie is really good. I like what's the punk rocker? What's his name?
Kanji.
Kanji was really cool. Yeah. I don't want to get into too much of it because we're starting to get into character territory for Zeke.
One last question. Is the English voice acting good?
I don't know if there is.
I don't know if you have. I don't know if you have the option. I think you
really?
have to.
Oh, okay.
I think it's all because I think I would have played it in Japanese if I don't remember. It was fine.
Well,
It wasn't like,
Persona
oh my god,
5
great. But
was
some characters are
one of
really
those
good
rare
and some are
games.
not that good.
Yeah, P5 was one of those rare games where the English voice acting was very decent
Yeah, I thought it was
in a
alright.
Japanese main
I
game.
don't remember being angry.
I don't remember that much voice acting in 4. Am I just mistaken completely?
They added more
There's
in
less
Golden,
than
but
there's
Oh, Golden had more?
yeah,
Oh,
Golden's like fully voiced. So
Interesting. Because
Yeah.
Zeke, I'm sure you know this, but Persona 4 was originally a PS3 game. They skipped, a PS2 game. They kind of
PS2,
skipped
yeah.
the PS3 world. And then Persona 5 was PS4. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind when you're
Gotcha.
playing through it, because there's some things where you're kind of like, it looks a little rough. Like,
Well, it's going to be like 720 graphics, I'm
It's-
sure.
Yeah,
720 30 FPS. But honestly, I didn't and again, like it's not like you're playing, AAA titles all day every day. It's not like this is gonna be a huge step back. You just got out of playing 25 indie games. So I think you'll probably be okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm pretty forgiving when it comes to that.
I didn't realize that apparently in the vanilla Persona 4, Troy Baker was kanji, but in Golden, it was not. He wasn't available for Persona 4 Golden.
I think they changed it because the Golden cast is the same as the cast for the anime, which was made kind of around the same time. So I think they just used everybody for the same stuff and kept a few of the
Gotcha.
actors.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, cool. You'll be starting that Thursday. Thursday is when you're going to be starting that. Right, Zeke?
Yep. Thursday at noon.
There you go. Adam, last
awesome.
but not least, what have you been up to?
I watched a sick kung fu movie called Shadow.
Oh, yeah?
Which was really, really good. Yeah. Yeah. So I watched that. It gave me lots of good ideas for especially like Court of Coins fight scenes. There's basically two. It's by the same guy that did Hero and House of Flying Daggers. And the whole thing is in this sort of pseudo black and white. And the main conflict is between a guy with like a giant spear halberd and a dude with a metal umbrella as a weapon. And their fight scenes are just like so good.
Is it old
It's a really, really good movie.
or newer?
It had one of those weird staggered releases in North America where depending on where you lived, it might or might not have been in the theater. I think it came out
Gotcha.
early to mid 2018. But yeah, I never saw it playing here and I forgot completely about it. And then it was on Netflix. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna watch this.
Nice.
So I did. And it was fantastic.
Nice.
Um,
What else you watch
yeah.
or do? Just more of the usual?
Yeah, I think
More
I mean,
huge in the
I think
coop,
so.
as they say?
That's right. That's right. Just living that huge life in the Couve. Yeah. Yeah. Things are pretty chill here in the Couve. I Yeah, I don't know. It's all RPGs. I did an RPG first look at a totally sick heavy metal role playing game called, and I'm so sorry, Sweden, Mjorkborg, which I think means Dark Fort. It's fucking awesome. It was a really cool RPG. And I looked at the Hyperlight Drifter role playing game today.
How's that?
Which was also really cool. Yeah, it's neat. It's really, really hard, turns out, to take a movie or a video game or a TV show and turn it into a role-playing game because they're very different.
Right.
But Hyperlight Drifter was doing some cool stuff. Yeah, I've been trying to, kind of like with what Zeke does with video games, I've been grabbing a bunch of different RPGs and doing little looks at them on stream, and there's been some really cool ones.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Those
But,
all
yeah,
up on your YouTube if people want to check those out.
Yeah. The VODs are on my channel, and then you can find them on YouTube. But yeah, I really like in the first rule in Morkborg is that in the game setting, the world is ending. And depending on how long you want your campaign to be, you decide this is a group. Every day the characters wake up, the GM rolls a D2, 4, 6, 8, 10, or 100. And if you get a 1, then one of the 7 seals opens and you get closer to the end of the world, and then the game setting changes. And when you open the last seal, when you get to the last one, the world ends, the game is over, and the game says you're supposed to burn the book. It's like, never play this again, which I thought was pretty funny.
Huh.
But it's a really cool system where you're like, all right, we're only going to play a campaign that lasts a little while. So there's a 50-50 chance the world moves towards ending every day. So like every time you take a long rest, GM rolls and it's like, uh-oh, that's 2 out of 7. You got 5 more.
Nice.
Yeah, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, I love when games have little mechanisms like that for stuff in the setting. I think it's really neat.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds cool. Well, that's the intro of the show. We've been going pretty long these past couple episodes, but oh well, whatever.
What do you think of Olsen? Bite-sized.
What? Did you
What do
say
you think of Olsen, since I
Elizabeth
know you're probably
Olsen bite-sized? What the fuck did you say?
What do you think of Elizabeth Olsen? Bite-sized. What do you think about Elizabeth Olsen? Bite-sized. No, I wanted to hear your quick cliff note. Your quick
The
cliff
Scarlet
note
Witch
thoughts.
is coming up. She's.
God damn it.
What are you talking about?
Of Wolsen.
Oh, Wolsen.
I know you're going to talk about it probably extensively tomorrow, but I just wanted to get your like bite size because I usually don't catch the plot frame.
If anybody's making a Court of Swords drinking game and you haven't already added, we'll talk about this more on Drop Frames. That's a drink for sure.
Yep.
That is,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%.
Well, I like to hear things, but I know you guys. Yeah,
I thought Elizabeth Olsen was fine. I thought.
God fucking damn it.
It was okay. I don't know what.
Elizabeth
It
Olsen?
sounded exactly like Elizabeth Olsen. Bite-sized.
I like Owen Wilson. That's good too.
I don't know why that just sounded
Wow.
so much like it. Ugh.
Max, listen, you pronounced it just fine. This is not on you.
Wait, really? Did I just hear what I wanted to hear?
I
Is
said
that what you're
Wolsen.
saying?
I thought I did. I think I just said
I
it
heard
quickly,
you say
so it sounded
Olsen
like
too. Yeah.
Well, it's the way you said it. I was just like, what did you say? Do you want to talk about Wolsen bite-sized? Is that what was the second part?
The both of you heard Olsen. That makes you the Olsen twins.
I also heard you say bite size Elizabeth Olsen.
Well, what was the
so-
second part that you
yeah.
said?
You said bite size,
Wilson,
but it was
what
like
did
you
you
wanted
know
just a
about
little
it?
bit because
Like
we
a
went over time.
bite size.
Yeah, he wants a little bit of Wolsen.
Oh,
does-
okay.
Max can have a little.
What
Wolsen
is
as a
your
treat,
small
all right?
Cliff Notes distilled opinion of Wolsen,
Very
the game?
clear. No, I mean the Wolsen wasn't the part. It all blurred together, and I just heard what I wanted to hear. Apparently, it was real funny.
Just imagine a candy bar like a fun size.
I don't care anymore. I don't care about what you have to say about it anymore.
Well, you know what though?
I don't give a shit.
to bring it back around, I gotta say, and maybe
Oh,
JP
man.
has an opinion about this. WandaVision looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. It looks
There you
real
go.
fucking
There's
cool.
your Elizabeth Olsen.
It looks really cool. Yeah. Good lord. I think it's fine, Max, but I'm a PoE purist, so if it's a stepping stone to get people into Path of Exile, then great. But the game's like pretty okay. It feels like a Kickstarter game that came out, and that's what it is to me. And that's not even counting like all the online I don't give a shit about any of like online issues and stuff that they had. Just like the game itself is fine.
You were just playing it on your own, right?
No, I had an online so funny enough, I like beat the game on Friday and then the servers went down for like all of Saturday and then like the beginning of Sunday. But yeah, I was playing primarily by myself online. I just couldn't play the game after I finished it. So I didn't, but I wasn't really planning on it to begin with. But I know a bunch
I had
of
a
people
feeling you were going to be
it.
very unimpressed by it just because it, Path of Exile. But.
Yeah, like there's part of me where it's like, I guess I'm snobby for saying this, but the positive spin on it for me is like, if it gets more people playing PoE, then by all means. I know like Dan really loved it, for example. And I think it hits a sweet spot where it's approachable and it if anything, hopefully gives the PoE devs insight in how to make an ARPG that has depth to it, but also is approachable and not just like, oh God, this is too much. I'm done. I'm quitting out the game. Like I'm fucking done.
I think that's why I like it. It's just because it's a little more approachable in that way. And less intimidating. Especially now because Path of Exile has existed for so long, so there's so many intense opinions and ways to do things.
Yeah, it seems to me that like Wolcen is to Path of Exile what like Gwent is to Magic. Like it's simpler. A lot more people are going to come into it, and then they might play a more complex game later down the line.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe that's what they want it to be. They want it to be as popular as Gwent. But that idea of like it's a similar concept, but we're gonna give it to you in a different way, so maybe people will like play it who are intimidated by this other game.
Yeah.
I think Wolcen has potential to be good down the line. It's just they released it before it was done.
Yeah.
Like they only have 3 of the 5 acts finished, and the end game's not really all that fleshed out yet. So it's like it's gonna be a good game eventually down the road, but right now it's kind of like a very basic action RPG. But what is there is a lot of fun, and it could be much better over time. Like right now, like it's very buggy. Most of the talents in the passive tree don't work. Like the entire minion tree did nothing, and it actually lowered your minion damage if you spec'd into it because it was all bugged.
I was watching.
So, there's a lot of.
There's quite a few bugs.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
I was watching Dat Mods play last night. He's a pretty big PoE streamer, one that I watch quite frequently, and for some reason his gear stopped applying the actual attributes. So like in mid boss fight, he was like taking his gear off, putting it in his inventory, equipping it again, and seeing if it actually applied the statistics that his gear's supposed to. And then his HP would somehow drop even more because it would just like forget that slot existed. I don't know like what the actual bug was, but in the middle of a boss fight, he's like taking gear off, putting gear back on, taking gear off, put it back on, and like trying to get his HP to go back by like 20,000. So he didn't just get one shot.
Yeah.
It was
nuts.
pretty funny. Yeah. It was fun to watch, but it's definitely like it's fine. I think ultimately my idea is that it's fine, or my thoughts on it are that it's fine. But I just want more people to play PoE. So that's my bottom line.
Elizabeth Olsen.
There's your Elizabeth Olsen moment.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
The Elizabeth Olsen moment of the show. Let's watch a recap last week, and then we will get started.
Previously on Court of Swords, Adikur and Ereshtum lead the party to the hidden gates of Manum Ekbal, a dwarven hold in the eastern mountains. Laying out a few ground rules, Adikur escorts the party inside while Ereshtum attends to other business. They're led through the darkness within to the Lawkeeper's chamber. Inside, the Lawkeeper, a strange hybrid of dwarf and machine breathing through the aid of cursed homunculus assistants. It is his responsibility to record and detail all the happenings of the Hold and the clan, and to recall the laws that bind the clan together. Speaking through a sort of psychic meld, the Lawkeeper plays a game of questions and answers with the characters, learning details about the void metal that Maharib's axe is made from, and telling our heroes that these dwarves have learned from their mistakes. They no longer wish to become involved in human squabbles, regardless of their scale. He attempts to learn where their lost fortress is, but the party manages to keep that secret safe, for now. Through the meld, everyone learns that Maharib's body is tainted by void blood, and that Ramus's soul is a mere simulacrum. It's clear the party is more in bed with Amara than they're willing to admit, even to themselves. Maharib attempts to assert dominance over the axe to prove that it is he that is in charge. This invites the presence of the great green worm, and suddenly, everything is chaos. In the end, Berg first breaks the shield around the axe and, after a moment of hesitation, shatters the axe itself with his hammer in a massive explosion that claims the life of the dwarven lawkeeper and destroys the Hammer of Heaven. The party quickly escapes by way of magic as Ramus casts Word of Recall to whisk them away. When they arrive at safety, they realize with dawning horror, Maharib has chosen to remain behind.
All right, that's
Okay.
it. That's the recap of the nonsense that went on last episode.
Yes, the sudden and unexpected total nonsense from the last session.
Yeah. Hey, Max, did you write your goals?
Get me a new weapon, get me a new weapon, and get me a new weapon.
Oh, okay. All right. Triple XP for Max, working on getting a new
Yeah,
weapon.
good. Yeah, so Max, we'll save your goals, but Ramus, I have your goals as create weapons of harmony from the ruined axe and hammer, find out what happened to Maharib, and heal 10 Pillars arm, which I totally forgot to mention in the recap. 10 Pillars is like a weird mutant now.
Yeah.
Yep.
True.
And then
those goals are fine.
yeah, you want to keep those? Okay, perfect. And then 10 Pillars, I have
We never
Find a
did
way to
we
deal-
discuss which arm.
I assume that you're right-handed because most people are. So,
Sure.
but if you want to because then you would reach for your right hand, but it can be your other hand if you want. I don't care. They both
Good question.
work.
Any of you guys here left-handed?
Nope.
That's right.
My brother
Fuck
is.
left-handed people. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah,
That's
fuck you,
right.
Einstein, Charlie Chaplin. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
You're called Sinister for a reason.
Whoa.
So, okay, so yeah,
Ooh,
we
yes,
hadn't
you
decided. It's up to you. I feel like this is one of those things where until a continuity editor is like, wasn't it his right hand? The animators will just switch back and forth as we go. So you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're fine.
So
I'll just
I have for you 10 pillars. Find a way to deal with my cursed arm. Find somebody to forge the void metal, and find the cadres of the Court of Swords.
Let's see. I think I'm gonna change out that last one for something else. I'm hatching a plan because this knowledge that I have of how to smelt the void weapons is a valuable
Yes.
how about this as a goal? Find a way to leverage my knowledge of smelting void weapon swords or void weapons.
Instead of finding somebody to forge it.
No, we need both.
Okay, so instead of finding the cadres or instead of fixing your arm?
Instead of finding the cadre, yep.
Okay, so leverage my new information about the void metal.
Yeah.
Okay. But find a way to just leverage it for your own benefit.
Or the benefit of all living beings.
Well, I mean, the thing is just saying leverage it, like you'd get experience. If we got to be specific, leverage it for what purpose, right? Use it to get what? Because that's what leverage it. What are you lifting with this lever? Yourself? Your bank account?
To further the cause of defeating the armies of the Necro King. Maybe I should just tell you like what I'm thinking here. I'll tell you what I'm thinking.
Well, I mean,
I didn't know.
Yeah,
because
because here's the trick, right? Is that you have something, and if your goal is just give it to someone who can use it, that's you're not doing anything. You're just giving it away, right? So yeah, give me some more information. We need the challenge there.
What 10 Pillars is thinking right now, what he wants to try to do is leverage the knowledge of how to make these void weapons to the court of coins in exchange for outlawing orc slavery and doing something about it.
See, there you go. That's more of a goal. So do you want to try to break that down? So there's something, because that's going to take some time, right? Do you want to like? What would be the first step? What's the first thing that you're gonna do?
The first step is one of the goals. Find a way to deal with, find someone who can forge metal weapons, and then find out if they can be mass produced.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'll use mass produce in the general sense, not in the like, let's have an industrial revolution sense. Like if they can be mass produced in the sense that you could teach other people these tricks and have a bunch of forges going at once. Yeah, that it's not like Excalibur level, like one person at a time. They have to be a 20th
the
level
knowledge
wizard.
Can be disseminated.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right. Berg, I got replace the hammer. What would you like your other two goals to be?
I'm probably going to keep locate Southern Wind just because I don't know if that's going to happen now, and it seems like it'd be decent XP.
You keep working on it at least.
Okay. Yeah. Second one is find out what happened to McRib. Third is replace. Are they ever bringing it back? Third, replace destroyed weapon. That's just my quick way of saying Maharib. It's harder to say Maharib. McRib is so much easier.
I mean, I think for 90 episodes, I had Reeb in parenthesis, and then no one called me that. So I just, went with the full name.
Yeah.
So it's on you. All right.
I don't know if you've noticed this about your own character, but he's not exactly the kind of person that people just give nicknames to. So,
hey, Chunk.
Yeah. And someone in chat had a really good point about my arm, because in order to I would be holding the thing with my left hand and trying to open it with my right.
Yeah, maybe. Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, left hand seems more logical, given that
our continuity editor, Twilight Borealis, did point out that when I told you about it, you raised your left hand in a gnarled claw and not your right. So if we're going by the way you reacted to it, it's your left hand.
Lefty then. Lefty it is.
There you go.
Okay, cool.
Oh man, that's gonna make the stranger so much more difficult.
Now it's the necromantic stranger.
And
it's got romance right in the name.
It's the thriller stranger.
That's where you cut off your own arm and you bring it back from the dead, and then you
Jesus.
The necro stranger. I love it. Okay,
also,
cool. And then
last time too, yeah.
There you go.
I still
and then Maharib, you are far away. So really I don't even need you today, so I guess you could just go.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where we announced that on Saturday we'll be doing a one shot where it's just me and Adam. I won't be playing today. It's just these three guys.
Yeah.
I'm out. Which a question to you, this is all real. A question to you, Adam. Should I take my headphones off, or am I supposed to be privy to this information?
I think it's fine. I think it's fine if you keep them on.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Since we have no Farverona this upcoming Saturday, we'll be doing a one shot with just me and Adam, where I get out of dwarf prison.
Episode 140B, where we catch up on Maharib in prison.
Yeah. Which is why on all the schedules and all that stuff, it said unannounced, because we wanted to wait till the show to announce it. So I'll just kind of be hanging out on today's show, making jokes about Elizabeth Olsen whenever they feel appropriate. And we'll go from there. So yeah, I'll have my goals and everything ready on Saturday.
Perfect.
I didn't know you guys are doing that. It's crazy.
Yeah, we kept the secret.
So yeah, we can talk about it a little bit more in the post show, and if that's part of your drinking game, go ahead. But yeah, the idea was just that rather than jumping back and forth between the two, we would just do two separate focused episodes.
Yeah. Then we also didn't have a one shot plan for this month, so that's the real reason.
Yeah,
it was easy. It just kind of happened.
We both have our own reasons. Yeah, it's fine.
It worked out.
It makes for interesting content, though. Too. I mean, look at people are excited about it. It's kind of like a focus.
I mean, it'll be fun. We haven't done like a side story with any of the characters yet, so I think that'll be fun. Yeah. Cool. All right. So Ramus, 10 Pillars, and Berg. I think we catch up with you right away. We basically just come right back in with you in the lingering kind of remnants of the magical spell that Ramus used to return you to the fortress, and there's this beat of silence and stillness where you all realize, and maybe Ramus, you do the mental math. You're like, 1, 2, and you realize that Maharib is gone. What do you do?
I think first I'm like, did I cast it right? Like, did I, was he in the area of a, I'm trying to figure out if it was my mistake. Like, if I acted like, it's my first time doing it. Like, I was trying to figure out, did I do it wrong? Like, why is he not here? So I'm just like,
Yeah.
in my loss of my thought, like, trying to recalculate the things I said when I cast it.
Is there a feeling that goes along with that spell being cast on us that we have to give it permission?
Yes. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
you feel the initial like draw, and there is a like you have to be willing to go along. You could resist.
Okay.
And so I think
I'll speak up.
You two, Ramus knows for sure what happened after a minute of searching, and the two of
Okay.
you have a general sense of like what might have happened, but you're not spellcasters, so you'd have to confirm with Ramus.
So you see me look around, search my body. There we go. Strike a match. Light up the pipe. Remus Krill. I don't think Maharib wanted to join us. He wanted to stay
Where?
behind for some reason.
Where? Why is she not here?
Yes, it was his fault. His fault. He did it. Wasn't me. Good. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Bad. Why did he not?
Maybe
Why would he stay?
Maybe he had some sort of guilt or something. He felt like someone should pay the price for what we did there, accidentally or no. Or he knew that they were crafting void weapons there, and that was the only way he'd get another one. But those are weak reasons.
I don't feel good about leaving the way we did. Those people were kind to me. My people. We left, killing one of their... Fuck.
Well, my large friend, there is a way we possibly could make amends for what we did. If we convince the Embers to vacate and move to the Burnt Valley, they can have their volcano back. They wanted. Know that. That's a peace offering we could make to them. But I'm curious to see what Hoth has been up to in our absence.
Yeah, Ramus, what part of the volcano fortress did you bring everyone back to? What room are you in? Is it your room?
I'm in my room that's been kind of turned into a shrine of harmony.
Okay.
Just drawings of yourself everywhere.
No.
Quick question.
Yeah.
There's no like cartography skill or anything like that, but I'm wondering if I was given like a pencil and a piece of paper, could I draw out, since we walked, I draw out like where we are in the volcano fortress or whatever, and in like with reasonable amount of distance and a path to where the dwarf fortress is.
There is a proficiency. It's cartographer's tools. That would be the appropriate drawing a map. Trying to remember would be survival. Did you help Maharib? at any point during the? Remember,
Yes.
you were all
Oh, yeah.
making. Maharib was making survival checks. You helped him. Okay, so you could try to make that check if you physically like re-walked the same path. You could do
Okay.
that. And then Berg, I think you can use your wherever you've been, you can remember the way back for ability.
Yeah.
You have that, right?
I was going to mention, I have that ability.
But the dwarves did mention that their fortress is like magically obscured, right? So like you could definitely get back. The two of you could definitely get back to the site where you fought the trolls. But
Yeah,
from
in the area,
there,
right.
it gets foggy, right? And on purpose. There's some kind of magical effect happening there.
Mm.
So it might be possible, but you'd have to get out there and go look.
I don't know if it's happening to you, but I'm very strange. I'm trying to recount my steps from here to the dwarf fortress, but I come to the battle with the trolls, and then I remember pieces.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she had
Berg-
some sort of enchantment.
Yeah, and Berg, same thing. Like you, I think you're aware of your like natural ability to navigate the wilderness, and when 10 Pillars mentions it, you feel like the spot where a missing tooth should be. You're like, oh, yeah, I can't remember that. There's something like clearly missing, and you don't remember like where the dwarves led you. You remember mountains, you remember the dwarves, you remember bits and pieces of conversations, but you don't remember how you got there.
I wonder how we get word to them or Maharib. That was my next question, was if Ramus Krill, you could contact Maharib from this distance.
Do we really want to, though? Honestly.
I understand your apprehension. He's not someone that's fun at parties, but he is formidable and loyal. I'd prefer he be here than not.
He
Well-
has helped us, Ramos. Do not be petty.
I know, Berg. Just joking.
Is this
Yes, I can.
Ramus, is this one of those moments where you say something offensive and then wait a second to see how everyone reacts, and then when they react negatively, you're like, I'm just kidding. Just obviously just kidding around.
No offense. Like, come on, duh.
Just testing the room a little bit.
Yeah.
I've never done that. I don't know what the hell that means.
It's a fairly classic trick, and you can track it back to those turtle creatures with the bowl of water on their head. What are those things called? Kappas, I think, is the name of the originator of it. So yeah, there's some uncertainty about that, what to do with this missing friend. And
Can you contact him, Ramus?
Go ahead.
I can contact him, or we could scry him and see where he is. Make sure he's okay.
I leave it up to you.
Well, yeah. Yes, we could scry on him and see if he's still even alive. They may have killed him right away.
Do you think the spell that obscures the fortress would have the same effect on your scrying?
It's possible. Their magic set blocks scrying. And teleportation and message sending. Like, dwarves know things, obviously. That place was full of enchantments and magics and machinery I've never seen before.
Speaking of that, There is something that I would like to tell you that I'm not sure if I told you a week ago. While we were battling against what I can only assume is the entity within the axe, I saw. I know what the Great Green Worm is, right? Or not? Is that a void
Does
thing or is that
anybody-
a everybody thing?
No, that's a void thing for sure. You
Okay. I'll
you
describe.
can
it
make a
then.
history check. You can make a history check if you want to.
Okay.
And we can go from there.
24.
Okay. This is one of those kind of like ancient aliens conspiracy type things. So various disconnected, very early human cultures, like around the time, and again, every culture has a different name for it, but around the time that heaven was formed, immediately after that, there are these myths of various figures that are not accounted for in heaven's roster. One of them is a worm, a green worm, sometimes depicted as a winged creature, sometimes depicted as like a literal like earthworm, sometimes a purple worm, but green. There are lots of depictions of it, but they appear in a bunch of different pre-modern civilizations, like art or whatever, and during that brief period. And then after that, heaven pretty much stomped all that out. So that'd be the
Okay.
thing that would pop into your head. Like, yeah, I feel like it's familiar to you, but
Okay. While you were all, it seemed you were all doing battle with something with the axe in the real world, I was transported to a dream of sorts, a memory where I was in a church of my childhood, and
And the memory was off, wasn't it?
it was because one giant glaring difference is in the dream, out of the high painted windows, they were broken out. I could see an eye staring directly at me. The eye belonged to a serpent. Unfathomably big serpent, green in color. And it just stared at me. Tried to prevent me from what I assumed was my goal. That was, well, in my youth, I always coveted the collection box of the church. Wondered how much was in there from all the poor people of the outlying farm towns and villages that would come in and worship. I always wanted to steal that box. And this was my chance to do it. And I felt like I died and came back, and I'm guessing that had something to do with you. But I got the box. But my penance, my punishment is this, and I show him, lift up my left hand. My punishment is
yeah. So what does your gnarled arm look like?
It looks like, you ever seen a like a wasp nest, like a paper wasp nest?
Yeah, sure.
It looks like it's made of that paper.
Ah, cool. Yeah.
It looks like it would crush, it would flake off if you tried to shake my hand.
That's right. I like it. Gross.
What was that?
I said,
Can
Oh, you
you-
said gross.
Ramus-
Oh, okay.
Ramus, can you
Bite-sized
hold on a
what?
second? Hang on a second. The way you described that reminded me of something. Ramus, can you make a religion check real quick?
13.
Okay, so it's enough to trigger the ghost of a memory, but not the memory itself. Something about 10 Pillar's arm, when you look at it and you see that kind of like layered, papery kind of look, like the back of your brain gets an itch. You something should be making a connection and it's not, but you definitely know there's something familiar about it.
Well, that was my punishment for the knowledge that I gained. The knowledge that I gained is going to be possibly, well, it could turn the tide in our favor. I opened the box and I immediately had the knowledge of how to forge void weapons. The mineral that the dwarves are mining. They don't know how to make it work for them yet, but I do. And that knowledge could be what wins us this war.
First, let me say thank you. That was good thinking. Second, I want to prove something to you that I don't think you'd realize you just experienced. Your arm there. Do you feel heaven's light in your arm? Did the touch feel like it came from the heavens above?
I like, can I like open and close my hand?
Yeah, you can still move it. Like you said, it's weird and different, but you can still move it.
Okay.
I mean, you wouldn't want to like block a weapon swing with it or something, but yeah, you can still.
Sure.
It still mostly functions.
Hold out your hand. I'm gonna. Oh, I don't have anything to swing.
Let me get my weapon. Oh.
Do I feel? Does it feel any different? Like Ramus was asking.
I mean, I don't know if you have the naturally in tuned ability. Like, if somebody came up to me and asked, like, "Do you feel the light of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ today?" I'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Okay.
Make an insight check, and we'll see what you feel.
30.
Feel everything.
What should he be? What should he be feeling, Ramus? Like, how would he know? What would that feel like?
Like
If you were teaching a disciple to detect the presence of heaven in their own body, how would they know?
when people go to clerics to be healed and be blessed, a feeling will wash over their body that every cleric, it feels a little different, but there's a familiar note in the song of the healing every time that you can feel heaven's light inside the power that's touching you, even briefly for a moment.
Oh, so it's like the more like religiously trained, the more in tune with the universe you are, the more you can feel. This is getting dangerously close to describing the Force, but you can feel the energy of the fountain around you, and you know that you are a part of that flow. Okay. Yeah, 10 pillars. Something feels off, and when you take a minute to like close your eyes and breathe in a meditative way, you definitely feel like it is centered around your arm. Something's not quite right.
If I if I try to shut off the world and just focus on my arm itself. Hold on. And you see me like unclasp the robe that I'm wearing and put it on the ground.
Yeah.
It's hard to concentrate.
That'd be surreal. All of a sudden your vision narrows to like a puny tunnel by comparison.
Yep. Yeah, I just put the robe. Actually, I asked Berg, will you hold this, please?
Berg like reaches out hesitantly, remembering what it is. He's like,
Don't worry, it's attuned to me, so it won't affect you unless you try something.
Sounds terrible.
And then I take out the robe, I stand there, and I just put my arm in front of my face, eyes closed.
So as we As we watch 10 Pillars do this, and 10 Pillars, because you have your eyes closed, you don't see it, but Ramus and Berg do. So you hold your arm up and you close your eyes. We see from one of the places where the folds of like papery kind of material that make up the arm, one of the places where the folds overlap, Ramus and Berg, you notice movement. And from between the papery kind of like flaky layers, you see an insect crawl out from between them. It's a little black kind of grub looking thing. And it crawls up and then it kind of like stretches and its back opens and little emerald wings kind of like flicker out of it. And it just is crawling around on the back of his arm.
Oh, he's like fucking Edgar suit guy. It's gross. From Men in Black.
Mm-hmm.
It feels different. It feels like not my own. It feels, if I can move it, I can tell it what to do, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did things without me telling it to. It's hard to explain. And then is the bug still there?
Yeah, and when you notice it, right, you see it, you look at it, and before you have a chance to react or anything, you notice that on the back of its wings, which is a sort of powdery greenish color, on the back of its wings, the pattern of its wings folded looks like a face, but not just like two dark spots for eyes. And it definitely looks like your face on the back of this insect. It's rendered in a very, very low like fidelity, but you see your own face on the back of this strange little bug, and it kind of flickers its wings.
That's new.
Yeah, and then it turns and crawls back under the folds of papery skin. It crawls back into your arm.
I don't like smash it. I just like gently feel to see if I can feel it crawling underneath my skin.
Make a perception check.
Okay. 18.
18? Okay. You don't feel it specifically, but there's definitely like squeezing the arm and kind of like pressing on it. You can feel there are structures underneath. You feel like a firmness in places. It definitely doesn't feel like you squeeze your arm, you can kind of feel your bones and your like tendons and stuff. It doesn't feel like anything like that. There are other strange structures underneath your skin.
This is disgusting. These descriptions are making me actually feel nasty, and I don't like them.
Thank you.
10 pillars. You see what your arm has become. That is not the work of the fountain. That is the work of the Mara. Now, heaven would have you believe that all power in the world comes from the fountain. They draw from its light most, but they put a little bit of it into each and every one of us. And we live about the lives according to their rules. And then we die and go back up there. And eventually we all come into harmony and join in the fountain's light. But what is that on your arm there? How did that happen? If the fountain is the only source of power in this universe, what did that to your arm? What is coursing where your arm used to be? What power do the Mara draw from, if not the fountain?
Why could it not be the fountain? Why couldn't the Mara get a piece of the power from the fountain?
You would know. My power, which doesn't come directly from heaven, but the fountain itself, you can feel the fountain when I heal you. You know its song in your heart. That does not come from the fountain. The creature you saw draws from a different power that heaven would have you doesn't exist. Tell me, 10 pillars, does your arm exist?
Yes.
Another one of their lies. How many lies do you have to be proven to be false before you realize heaven is not on your side? Heaven is on heaven's side.
Well, yes. That's always been true.
What else have they not told us? What else are they hiding?
You make a very compelling argument, Ravens Krill, but my faith is not so easily shaken by some necromantic power or whatever this is. And I kind of close my eyes and I try to get a bug to like crawl out of my arm. I'm trying to will it to happen.
Call one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, make a religion.
And then I
check.
call it and make it lay babies in Berg's ears.
How dare you?
Sorry, go ahead. What was that? Make a what?
Make a religion check.
34 or no 32. Sorry, 24 would be the
32. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you concentrate real hard, and there is a it's like a rippling from the edge of where your flesh meets the kind of papery skin, and you feel the various like thin plates of skin that make up the substratum of this thing sort of separate and unfold slightly. You all watch, kind of like watching the hair stand up on the back of someone's neck as the folds kind of blossom, almost like the petals of a flower. And within, underneath, you can see the bones. So you can see 10 pillars like arm bone and like some of his hand bones between these. And yeah, they're covered in like a thick, gooey, kind of greenish substance. And there are little like pomegranate seed sized little semi-transparent globs all like nested along the inside of whatever this bone is. And you can see a few of these little insects kind of crawling around inside that muck. You can reach in and just pull one out if you want, but they're not like coming out.
Okay.
Do you want to pull one out?
I'm like if they're not coming out from my will, like I'll look at my arm and I'll definitely like put like a finger in there to see if one like crawls up it.
Make an animal handling check.
I'm actually proficient in that. I have never used it. And I want to. I'm glad to use it.
Handle your gross little bugs.
Okay. Yeah, who knew that the gold in 10 pillars of gold referred not to money, but to honey. So yeah, you like stick your little finger in there and one of the little creatures, one of these little critters, and you can see now that there are like more than one kind. These ones seem to be like, if you look, there's all these like weird egg things clustered around your bones. You probably shouldn't be seeing your own bones. But these ones, the ones that are in here, there's maybe a dozen of them, and they seem to be tending to the little like clusters inside. And you poke at one of them, and it reaches out with its little front paw, little front legs, and kind of like touches your other hand and like pulls away from it. Yeah, they seem like they're busy, and like you're getting the impression you're interrupting something. So it kind of like looks at you and like raises up its little forelegs and kind of pokes at you. It's got little antennae that are twitching. It doesn't like bite you or anything, but it recedes. It backs away from your finger.
Well, I don't think I can communicate with them, so to speak, but it appears as if they're working. They're doing something in my arm.
Yeah, and as your focus on keeping like your attention as it shifts when you start talking to Ramus and Berg, you feel a kind of almost like a peristalsis. Like you feel the stuff inside kind of contract, and it pulls the skin tight again back over your arm. So all the layers kind of flatten down again and like tighten up.
And I just keep looking at it, and you just hear me kind of like mumble under my breath. Fascinating.
That is definitely a word you could use to describe it. Yeah.
Well, I don't see this being anything but a bad thing. So, as much as I dread the thought of being a solely right-handed man, I think this arm needs to be healed or done away with. There any spells or magic prayers you can do to help me, Remus Krill?
Well, first, let me figure out what the fuck is going on with it. I don't know what the hell is happening with your arm right now.
That makes
Oh.
two of us. Unless Berg knows, that makes three of us.
I am so glad I had rocks for arms and not that.
That's a story you're going to have to tell me around a campfire sometime. I grabbed the robe from you and I put it back on.
When you grab the robe, Berg is very careful for you not to touch him.
Not to touch. Got a booger. You can relax.
I grabbed
Berg. I don't believe it's contagious. I believe I have this for a reason.
Gross.
I grabbed the arm and started inspecting it. Not really a medicine check, more of a religion check to see like if anything like this has ever appeared, any like blight or curse or something where these types of insects appeared and then started either crafting or doing something connected to the Mara.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can make a religion check.
He casts
Or a history check,
Detect
whichever.
Mara.
This is just not something you've ever seen before. Nope. We got 7. So, yeah, no idea. It's
Well, how immediate do you want this gone?
Well,
Every minute we wait, I don't know what it's doing.
me neither. It's quite alarming. I don't know if it's going to take over my entire body or if it's just relegated to this one arm, but it doesn't feel bad. There's no pain. It just feels different. Hard to explain. Maybe Bahath would relish the chance to cut off and cauterize my stump.
Are you asking for another miracle of harmony?
And you kind of look, he kind of like slow looks at you like, if that's what you want to call it, then yes. If you have any
What
help
else
you
would you
could give
call
me.
it? Bringing a man from the dead back to life from a bone. What's an arm?
Miracle is raising a child who doesn't steal or spit on his elders. What you do is a gift from the gods.
The gods whose name I spite every day.
This is a long argument for another time. Are you going to help me, Remus Krill, or are you going to berate my belief system?
Well, I will help you because you've helped me many times. Fair is fair. Now, this is going to hurt, but it will get better. Berg, I need you to go find an axe.
Yeah, I need a new weapon.
And find some strong
Oh.
drink.
To cut. Mm, fine. I guess they must have something to cut that with.
Are you
Alright.
sure about this, Rain
I will be-
Krill?
I will be back.
Berg,
Don't,
Well,
there's no
and-
other way. You can't just wave your hand over it. Anything like that.
That is not a normal wound or curse or infection. That is something that should not be in this world.
Very well. You see me bend over, and actually, I find a seat, and I take off my boot. You see me like taking the laces out of it. I've been in far too many wars and battles. Know how this goes. You see me like start to tie it around like above the curse, and like just hold the slack in my hands, waiting for Berg, because I don't want to start cutting out the circulation now, but I'm just getting ready.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to
Um,
clean your arm and disinfect it while we wait for Berg to get an axe.
Listen, what?
Hey,
Just
it's got-
rub
Ramus got
alcohol on
medicine.
it.
Meanwhile, Berg's searching, I guess, the
So there's definitely no axe just laying around in Ramus's room. But
Right,
you
yeah.
could leave and go find it.
yeah, that's what he's doing.
All right, so Berg, you leave the room, go out into the hall, and as before, it's quiet here. They're still waiting for people to return. But you hear a bunch of voices talking kind of all at once in that main hall where they like feed everybody. The kind of like that main meeting hall on this level. You hear a bunch of people talking. They sound upset. And in fact, under it, somebody is like sobbing. You can hear them like taking those big gulping, like wet sob breaths. And somebody else is like interrogating them. You hear, it might be Awut. You hear a man saying, "Where did this happen? When? How long ago? We need answers." And then you hear more like sobbing. And then you hear the sound of someone getting slapped in the face. The sobbing stops for a second. And then you hear Vani say, "Awut, don't." And then there's more like chaos talk where everybody's talking over each other. And this is happening like just a little down the hall through another door.
This sounds like a side quest that I don't need to pay attention to right now. I'll come to it later.
I mean, yeah, you can just ignore it. Yeah.
I'm trying to see if he actually would have. I mean, no, because he's going to ask them anyways where to find this thing. So Berg's going to go and see what's up, while with the intention also of asking them for,
Yeah, Doug's
tool
got,
for the job.
for sure that Doug's got a big knife he uses to cut up like pork with.
It's true.
So yeah, at the worst case scenario, you just go in there and Doug will let you borrow. As long as you don't tell him what it's for. He probably wouldn't be that into it if you were like, "Can I borrow your kitchen knife so I can hack off 10 Pillars' gross arm?" So yeah, Berg, you come in. Nobody in the room
You
notices
check it
you.
out,
There's like a half
especially
dozen.
after hearing Vani. After you hear
There's a
his
half
voice.
dozen
He might have
people in
ignored it
here.
anyways.
Yeah, Vani and Awut, they're talking to somebody you can't see. There is blood on the floor, like somebody bleeding has been dragged into this room that leads up to where they're talking. They're talking. There's a couple of other kind of miscellaneous background fire cultists, and Awut and Vani are arguing right now, where Vani is like, "He's just a boy. You don't have to treat him like this." And Awut is like, "We need information. You don't understand. This is dangerous. And what do we do in Bahath Berg?" And then Vani says, "Berg, what are you doing here?" And she comes like running over to you. Not like full tilt, but like jogs over to you.
She going for an embrace, or what is she doing?
Yeah, she comes in and she hugs you, and then she holds you at arm's length and is like, "You're hurt. Where's your hammer? What's going on? When did you get back?"
We lot of stuff to talk about. We are
Here
back.
too.
Not all of us. What?
And you
What
look
is
past
this?
her now that she's moved to you. You see past her. Awood is like arms folded over his chest, and he's got blood all over him. Like he's got a smear on his face, all over the front of him, and he looks really upset. And on one of the tables being tended to by a lesser cult member, you see a young man. You've been around a while. Can you make an intelligence save? I just want to see if you remember this guy's face.
It's my best thing at -1.
I know. This.
Ah!
All right, you got a 19. Okay, so you recognize this kid. His name is Jai. He's a young, like, cultist, kind of a young warrior. He has a brother whose name is Kita, but Kita is not around, nor is anybody. And Jai looks like he's been, like, badly hurt. He's bandaged, but the bandages are already soaked through, so you don't know how long ago they were applied. The two of you, like, he knows you too. What did you? Maybe there was a moment the two of you shared that made him stick in your head. What was it?
Is he somebody? Sorry, you said he was somebody that was a part of these cultists.
He's a cultist. Yeah, he's like maybe like 14 or 15, like a young kid, but he's like, again, he's an adult in the sense that there's no, at least in this culture, there's no like adolescence. You're either a child or you're an adult. So he's a very, very young adult. And he has an older brother. And yeah, you two shared some kind of moment. Why? What was that?
I'd say it was after the noodle eating competition.
Right.
Like Berg caught him in the hall, and he was just kind of staring at him, like, whoa. And then it was just like a brief dialogue of like, how did you do that? And Berg was
right,
just downplaying it kind of
so
thing.
So he has
I
like
wish I could do that.
I mean, yeah, he's got a kid's idea of Berg. This is the whole Mean Joe Green thing again, where he's just like, oh, it's Berg. So when he sees you, he looks over and he's fucking delusional, right? Like he's been badly injured, but he sees you, he recognizes you, and he's continues like sobbing, and he starts apologizing to you. He's like, Berg, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I told them and there were too many of them, and now Kita's gone, and he's just got tears streaming down his face, and he's covered in his own blood.
Calm down. What?
He's like speaking to anybody that'll tell him.
Yeah,
What
Bonnie
happened?
is the closest to you. Awood's all pissed off and kind of looking away angrily. Yeah, so sorry, go ahead. You're talking to Bonnie. She says, she puts her hand on your arm in a gentle, like, let's go talk about it over here, and kind of leads you away, not out of the room, but away from the two of them. And she says,
as she does that, Berg looks back and stares pointedly at Awood. Yeah.
So she says, we found him at the gate. He somehow managed to find his way back. Him and his brother, they went out into the jungle to find others, as Bahath commanded, to build the army, and they ran into some of that woman's forces. They've been searching the jungle, and there was a fight, and Jai got away, but Kita and the others, well, they're either dead or they're in her hands now. And I don't know if Jai is going to even make it. I did everything that I could, but he's lost a lot of blood.
Mm-hmm. We knew this was likely to happen.
Can you make an
You are
insight
not
check? real quick?
trained fighters.
Yeah, I just want to see if you notice something. Make an insight check for me while you're talking to her. Okay.
Nope.
Yeah. So you read the situation exactly as it is, right? It's not like you miss anything important, but like if there's subtext, it doesn't occur to you. So yeah, you say we need real fighters, and she says, Kita was skilled with a sword, but they were all alone, just the two of them and these villagers, and they were on their way back. And now, Berg, if she has them and Kita is alive, then she's going to know where we are, I mean.
You might be right.
Where?
don't know.
And now she
Even
kind of
if
like,
they're
she's
dead.
kind of realizing that she's been talking to you, and now she's like, oh, wait, you're always with your goons. Where are the goons? And so she looks around and she says, where's everyone else, Berg? How did you get back? Did you find Southern Wind?
We did not find you. Come with me.
I can't. We can't leave Jai alone.
Then stay here.
And then Berg, he thinks it's probably prudent to go inform Ramus of what's going on.
Yeah, and as you turn and walk away, she says, "What's happening? Where are you going?" And then you hear Jai cry out in pain again, and she turns and then immediately goes back to him, like, "Whatever, Berg, go do your own thing. I have to make sure this guy doesn't die."
Yeah. So Berg,
Yeah, where do you go?
he goes right back to where Ramus is.
All right, so Ramus
thinking
and
that the
Ten
arm
Pillars,
can
as you
probably
are
just,
preparing for this operation, the door opens. You see Berg. Berg does not have an axe or a cleaver or anything like that, and looks. I don't know what's the look on your face, Berg.
Determined, brows furrowed.
Mhm. Something
Opens
serious
the door
is
and
going
he's
on.
like,
Above and beyond all
Before you
this
guys-
usual stuff.
yeah. When you guys look at him expectantly and then see that he doesn't have anything, Berg is the first to speak and cuts off anything. He's just like,
Ramus,
Did you not?
you both come. Arm
Get
can
up.
wait. Gross, but can wait. Follow me.
and he just turns.
Mhm.
What is it, Berg? As I'm following, what is it?
You will hear from Vani.
He's like walking very quickly. You guys have to like keep.
Yeah,
up.
so
You
10
have to make
Pillars.
an
I mean,
effort.
Berg is hard to keep up with on the best of days. So if he's hustling, you all kind of have to hustle over him. So Ramus and 10 Pillars, you follow Berg wherever Berg's going.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you see that same scene. You see drops of blood on the floor. You see the drag mark. You see the kid on the table, and you see Vani talking to him. Right? Vani and Awud are both covered in his blood. There's a bunch of people standing around looking like nervously, and Vani is in the middle of saying to him like, "It's okay, Jai. You're going to be fine. Just stay calm. Breathe. Come on. Look at me, Jai. Pay attention." And Awud is just sort of pacing and like, what am I going to do? Fuck. And he's obviously concerned, but he seems to be concerned about something that isn't this kid dying. That's what you see.
As Berg comes out, he speaks out to Vani.
Vani, tell them where you told me.
And Vani looks up and then looks back at Jai and she,
And real quick, before she even says anything, Berg looks
Yeah.
to Ramus like,
Ramus, can you do anything for the boy?
I will try. I walk over and do a medicine check to see if magical healing would help him at this point.
yeah. Make a medicine check to find out if he's cutscene dead or just for reals dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
15.
Yeah, it's weird. You've got all these Phoenix Downs and he just won't come back to life.
Yeah.
15. Okay, here's the deal. He's got wounds, mostly like, first of all, defensive wounds, like somebody attacked him and he tried to block with his arms. So he's got all these deep gouges in his arms. Both arms are wrapped with bandages. He has at least 3 or 4 stab wounds in the torso, and he has a big cut across his throat, which luckily seems to have missed his jugular. But his breath is coming in these ragged gasps. He probably has internal injuries. If you don't heal him with magic, he will definitely die. Yeah, but you might be able to still. Yeah, you might be able to heal him.
Okay. I bless his head and say with the elements in harmony, I heal this man and cast cure wounds on him.
Right. So you conjure
9.
harmony. Vani looks like she's about to be like, "Hey man, this is no harmony guy. Like, we worship the Fire Lord around here," but she keeps it to herself. She's just like, his life is more important. I'll have this conversation with Ramus later. And I think 10 Pillars, you noticed this. You're an astute judge of character. Vani doesn't like Ramus very much. Like,
Yeah, but
she
who
looks
does,
at him like
you know?
Vani looks at him like he's a meddling, like, she's letting him do this because she knows it's going to help, or she thinks it is, but she doesn't like him. Not even a little. Like, she looks at him like, and she's angry. And so, yeah, but she lets him come in, and he lays hands on the boy. Let me find a way to describe this that makes sense. Let's see. It's a specific effect, but it might not be in here. Here we go. Let's see here. Okay. So, it looks like whatever injured him, and you know what? Make an Arcana check while this is happening, and I'll tell you based on that. Because I want to see what you notice.
Okay.
Something is preventing the wounds from healing. Something is like rejecting your magic. So when you cast it, there is a definitive sense. No one else in the room can feel it. They all see nothing. Nothing happens. But to you, you feel a resistance, a pushback. And his wounds don't heal. And Vani is the first one to say, "What are you doing? Nothing happened."
Ten Pillars, come here. I want to try something.
And she
I gotta
scowls.
go.
And does anybody here speak Primordial?
Nope.
She says something in Primordial. It sounds like an invective. It's directed at Ramus. She shakes her head and says it, but no one understands what it is.
I want to try to channel the inner Mara part of my soul, and I'm going to grab 10 Pillars' arms, and I'm going to try to heal him with the same incantations, but channeling the power of the void this time to heal him with void magic instead.
You're going to pray to the void to heal this kid.
We just fought the void, man.
Because I think
remember what that dwarf said about Ramus, right? Like you're more allied with the Mara than you think.
I think it's void magic preventing the healing, and if I use void magic to heal, I think it will let me heal him. That's my theory.
No. Or he'll turn into a fucking monster.
And it's dramatic as hell, and I want to do it anyway.
Yeah, you're like, I'm gonna do it.
All right, fine.
Okay.
It's such good TV. Here we go.
So you put you place your hands on him, and you start to begin the prayer, and you're kind of having to wing it because the prayers, you've been adjusting, I assume, over time, right? Like on your downtime, because cleric magic is knowing the magic words, literally, to tell the universe to do certain things, right? Like wizard magic and cleric magic, they can do different stuff, but they're pretty much the same jam. So you have these prayers that originally you were taught that you pray to the sun, but you've been adjusting them to fit harmony. But now you have to do it on the fly. You basically have to make up a new prayer and see, because you don't even know the forms, right? So this is all total experimental magic. So make a religion check first.
Okay. I'll use my inspiration.
Hell yeah.
I crit.
All right. So you get an answer. You feel this throbbing sense of darkness, of power inside you somewhere, and the feeling of calling out to it is like I have an analogy, but I don't know that ever happened to Ramus, but maybe it's like a past life experience. But at some point, and this calls to mind for you, and you can tell me if this is a childhood memory for you or not, but there was a time where you almost drowned. Maybe you fell in a river or maybe something like that, but you almost drowned and you were pulled up out of the water by somebody nearby. It doesn't matter who it was. You pulled up out of the water, and that first like shuddering breath was like remembering that air existed at all, right? That you were like, oh, I need this to live, as you like get a big lung full of air. It's that same feeling, right? When you reach out to the void spirit in your soul, it feels to you like taking that first breath again. And your intention here was that you heal the wounds with your magic.
Yes.
What now you can cast? What's the actual spell you're casting? You're just doing another cure wounds.
Another cure wounds. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this time, when you go to do it, I need to make a check to see if you get interrupted first, because old suspicious Vani is paying very close attention to what you're doing. This is like her main thing. So what level you're casting just cure wounds at level 1?
I think yeah, level 1. We'll do that.
Okay. So DC is 16 on this roll. Okay, so Berg, everybody's gonna get involved here. So Ramus is praying. 10 Pillars and Berg don't really know what's going on. Vani is watching Ramus right before Ramus is about to cast the spell. Vani gets a look on her face like, oh, hold on. No way. And she goes to interrupt Ramus. Do either of you try to stop her?
Okay. She's moving towards Ramus. Do we try to stop her?
She's clearly trying to stop whatever Ramus is about to do. Yeah. She hears the prayer. She's like, wait a second. I know what you're doing. No way. Not to this kid, not here, not now. And she's moving to like slap him or shove him or just interrupt the spell, hold him like so he can't finish the incantation, slam her hand over his mouth, something. But she's moving towards him with a violent intent. She's not like drawing a weapon or anything. But
No, I honestly think I'm a bit too distracted.
It was mainly a question for Berg, because Berg is both figuratively and literally in between the two of them.
Yeah. This is like a fucking Walking Dead moment.
So Berg, on the one hand, you got your new girlfriend. On the other hand, you got your old friend Ramus, and they don't get along. What are you gonna do?
I'm trying to really picture like Berg there and that.
Yeah.
Does it look? See, I guess it would be. Am I noticing some sort of weird reaction, or like that Ramus is doing something fucked up? Because all Berg said is, "Can you do anything for the boy? Like heal him." So if Berg has any inclination that maybe he's doing some shit with Mara, you know, I don't know. Can you give me any context there as to what Berg might be perceiving, or maybe I make a roll?
You can make a
what?
religion. You can make a religion check if you want to. With the same DC, it's open to everybody. Nope. This just looks like Ramus doing Ramus stuff. So close to, and that's a hard roll for you.
No, I don't think he would stop her. Because in his mind, she would have a damn good reason to stop him.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
he doesn't. He trusts that she
her,
wouldn't do something.
She's
silly.
not doing this for no reason.
Exactly.
Right,
He trusts
okay.
both of them, but yeah.
So she moves to interrupt. Ramus goes to cast the spell. Let's just use initiative to determine like if you beat her or if she gets to you before you finish the spell. Now that there's no impediment.
Yeah.
So she's got a +2, I think. So she gets not good. She gets a 7.
I get a 6 though.
Shit! Too close. So Ramus, you're concentrating too hard. She doesn't try to interrupt you because, you know, like you might still be able to cast it. She physically gets between you and the kid because she knows she's a cleric too. She knows you have to touch him, and she holds you back. And she says in common, actually, I think she's stressed out. So she starts with primordial, then realizes you can't understand her and switches very quickly. And she says, get away from him, and like pushes you back to try to like, you know, shove you out of range from the kid who's just like moaning in pain. And now the two of you like are like you basically you can't you can have the same effect on the spell. Like, you know what the prayer was, you'll remember it, but you will have to like properly cast it on like your turn, basically. So she gets in between you and preempts you from casting the spell. You don't lose the slot yet or anything, but now you have this like Mara revivification prayer in your head, but you can't cast it on him because she's physically blocking you and is just like, get away from him. I know what you're doing. You can't do this. I'd rather see him die than let you do that. And everybody understands that, right? Au turns and is like, what's going on here? And like comes over, and the other cultists are like worried and looking at each other. And Vani is now standing like, you know, broad shoulder, like arms over her chest, like, stay away from that kid. And Jai is just like laying there writhing and holding his stomach and just like moaning in pain.
Berg looks pointedly at Ramus too, with the, you know, the thought process of like, she stopped him for a good reason. Obviously something he didn't, you know, pick up on. Like,
Ramus, what are you doing? What was that?
He's dying because of void magic. Do you remember Broken Promises, the magic she cast? That is what was cast on him. The only thing that will counter it is void magic. The other source counter to the fountain, 10 pillars, is the void.
So what? You were going to pray to the Mara and hope they help?
Not the Mara, the void. The same way the way I'm avoiding the gods here, the way I'm praying to the Mara's source of power. They both play like they're
know
gods.
What will happen, Ramus? You don't.
Gentlemen.
I do.
Gentlemen,
Tell me that you do.
Die.
Put
He will
myself in
die.
between them.
If I don't
Yeah,
stop
yeah. So
it,
10
he
pillars
will
gets
die.
in like, everybody stop it. And so like the thing, this is a very tense scene, and like Vani, because she's a fire genasi, like her hair is kind of like lifted off and it's like moving and her eyes are glowing, and like Berg is starting to use that like I'm getting angry voice, and Ramus is yelling, and then 10 pillars, you get in the middle and are like, whoa. What do you say? There's a moment where you get a chance to say something.
get out of here, bug arm.
Oh,
I purposely put my bug arm towards Berg, and he's like, Jody. No, I stop them. I get in between him, and I go, Ramus, while I understand what you're trying to do, and it makes sense, it's not your decision to make. These are not your people.
It's
Vonnie,
not hers either. It's the boys. Ask him.
She scowls at you and she says, the boy and his well-being is my responsibility. And I think, again, 10 pillars, they're both kind of overdoing it out of a little bit of insecurity, but she's making a bigger deal out of this because she's new to this job, right? Like, the old Eldritch Mother just died. She hasn't been in charge for long, and she's using this guy as an example. Like, I have to save him, or my worth as the high priestess is nothing. And so she says to you, Ramus, she's like, the boy and his well-being is my responsibility. And she raises a hand and like brings her arm down, and when she does, there's a whip crack. And she conjures a spiritual weapon. Hers is the form of a swirling whip of fire. And she just and then stares at you like, come on, Ramus, you want to fight me? I'll fight you over this.
I turn directly to
him.
Vonnie, and I get between them. Vonnie, does the will of the boy matter?
And she turns to you, and there's a moment where you think she might hit you instead, where she's just like, ah, and like turns and looks at you. And she exhales slowly to try to calm herself down, and her breath comes out as black smoke. So she's like, and there's this cloud of smoke that comes out, and she says, the boy has a name. His name is Jai, and he wants to live, but not at this cost. And she looks at Ramus and she says, what he wants to do, we might as well just turn him over to that grave dirt woman. It's the same. And the fact that you can't see that.
I let her keep talking. I kneel down to the boy and get close so my mouth is near his ear and his is near mine. You want my friend to heal you?
He's
Or do you
like,
want
he's gone from
to-
while everyone was shouting, he's
Yeah.
gone from like groaning to being like very, very still. Like he's just laying there and he's breathing very quickly. And I would do it, but I would hyperventilate. So his chest is rising and falling very quickly. And he's just like pale and sweaty. And just breathing in and out very quickly. And so you lean in to like whisper, and you feel like a slight like tingle or like a tickle at your neck. And you maybe like reach up, right? Because you feel something like touching your neck, and you reach up, and your hand comes away with one of those little cicadas that was just like found its way up to your. And so you're looking at it, and the kid whispers something in primordial, but you don't understand him.
I take his chin,
Mm-hmm.
and are his eyes open?
No, his eyes are closed.
Fuck.
You can pry him open.
Well, I know. Then I stand up, and I look at Ramus and I say, "The boy is unresponsive. Jai, excuse me, is not responding. So it falls to Bonnie to decide what happens to him. If you want my opinion, that is it."
And Vani is just like sneering at Ramus, like her whole body is tense. She expects this to turn into something way bigger than it already is, but Ramus, you kind of have an issue here. If you back off, she'll probably calm down.
Well, then we'll let Vani heal the boy.
Such an asshole, Ramus. Because you know she can't. So I wonder if she knows that she can't. No, I think she thinks she can. So she looks at you and then like dissipates the whip, right? She just like pulls her hand up and it disappears. And she turns back to Jai. She pushes you out of the way, 10 pillars, like get away from him. And she gets her arms underneath him and tries to lift him. And Berg, you can see that like he's pretty heavy and she's kind of small. So like she's having a hard time. You do anything? She's gonna try to lift him and take him out of here.
This is her punishment. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he'll help.
Okay, so you come over and she lets you pick him up if you do, and she looks at you and she says, "The room where we summoned Bahath, we have to take him there."
Berg nods and obliges.
Okay, all right. So the two of you leave, Vani and Berg and Jai, who feels like dead weight in your arms. He's definitely still alive. And I think at this point, when you lift him up, his eyes kind of flicker open, and he looks up at you, and he whispers something. Like he's trying to talk, but he's not strong enough. But you definitely see him try to form your name. He recognizes that it's you carrying him out of here, and the three of you leave the room. Awut says quietly to himself, to the room, to Imix, "It wasn't supposed to be like this." The other cultists all kind of stand around like, "Oh God, what the shit is happening?" The table is covered in blood. And I think that's the moment, right? That's the scene before we go to break, is the group of you kind of standing as they leave the room. Cool. Yeah, let's take our break there.
Yeah, sounds good.
And when we come back, we'll see what happens. Yeah, right? Woo.
Yeah, I got 10.
I love it when Berg and Ramus tussle. It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Like two brothers just like who usually get along just fine, but then just fucking get at each other's throats. It's great.
It's been a while for sure.
Well, I mean, in this moment, he had an indication that Berg or that Ramus was doing something fucking weird, which he usually doesn't have.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, you were just pissed he was going against Bonnie.
No.
Mm-hmm.
We all know what.
I mean, that's part of it for sure.
we all
Relationship starts
saw,
changing.
We're all here.
And then,
in the
yeah,
same room.
now
Berg, you can't.
You don't hang out anymore.
How do you grow crops, JP?
Ramus, back off. Let me try my bugs.
Max, when we get back, we better have a bite-sized Elizabeth Olsen here. All right?
Shut up.
Make it happen. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more Court of Swords right up.
Fun of you for that, Max, when it was his fault for mishearing.
It's not my fault.
Hey,
he
he's
said
just-
the goddamn
he's
words,
just a
Zeke.
silly-
It's his fault.
It's the year of Max is right. I don't need to respond to that.
Yeah, Max
That's
is right. He wants a bite-sized Elizabeth Olsen. Olsen. I can't even say the words. I can't even say the words, so how could I hear the words if they were said incorrectly? Because he has to say them correctly. See how that works? That's
Just
logic.
go to break.
Right back.
Barry, cut the stream, man. Let's just get out of here.
We'll be back.